called The Activist, which was going to debut on, I don't know, one of these networks. It wants nothing to do with me. CBS. The Activist was announced, and it was going to be a reality competition show where people competed to be crowned the best activist.
In a battle for relevancy on social media.
Yes. It was something that I would pitch as a joke. CBS decided to actually fund and make a show where people would compete to be the best social media activist. And when I criticize celebrity activism, it's not so much that I'm not saying like, oh, it's not good. I'm saying it's not real. Like, it doesn't exist. See, it's depending on the way you feel, it might be misguided, but it's not even happening, is my point. It's just people talking. Nothing's going on. Occasionally there's some charity or slush fund that you can't really trace where the money goes. Occasionally there's a fundraiser where people go and eat nice food and wear designer clothing and they all write checks. And then a portion of that money gets funneled to something that may help someone somewhere down the line. But it's not really like direct action, right? And this is really what it is. And every now and then, Hollywood like does something that's so heinous that they have to disavow it. Usually they try to defend what they do, even though they're on very shaky ground. Like the Imagine video, people are like, it makes people happy. Shut up. You're a cynic. You know, remember that when everybody got together in the beginning of the pandemic, when everybody was unemployed and everyone was shut down and nobody had a job, and the hero nurses we've heard endlessly about are all, supposedly the nurses found that comforting, I guess. I don't know. We couldn't get them PPE. They were wearing garbage bags, but apparently seeing Gal Gadot and all these people sing helped them. But Hollywood every now and then just does something so egregious that they have to immediately go, hey, our mistake, and retool. And the activist competition, it's like The Apprentice for Black Lives Matter activists. Truly. No, it's The Apprentice for woke activists on Instagram. Like, you know, the tits out, you know, we've all seen the Instagrams. Every hot chick on Instagram, and even most of the hot dudes, the profile picture is like BLM. Make sure the pronouns are in there. She, her, BLM, here are the tits. That was the show. They said, let's find hot, attractive, socially conscious activists to basically go and fool the world using CBS, which is a pretty large platform. Let's bring on people to play a trick, to play a joke on the world, and say that they are really concerned with activism, but have the time to participate in a reality show on CBS. In the midst of their very busy careers as activists, they have the time to do a reality competition show. Some would say it's a frivolous endeavor. Oh, no. It's going to get them a lot of new people to follow them on social media so they can continue to do better activism. This idea had to climb a ladder of multiple people that had to sign off on this, saying that this was a good idea. Also, this didn't start yesterday. This idea was not hatched a week ago, which makes me think that this idea probably came to an executive during the riots.
Yeah, the timeline makes sense.
The timeline does make sense.
Yeah.
So during the riots, after the murder of George Floyd, which was fucking and like it was an execution killing of George Floyd. And all of these things that we're all figuring out. Tamir Rice, this poor kid who got shot, who had a BB gun, and all of these different things that had made people really start talking about policing and rights and all that. During this time, someone in the town that I'm in right now had an idea for a show. They were looking at all these people on social media. Remember the black square? I put one up.
Yes, I remember.
The black square. I didn't know. I thought it was going to be a collage or something. Didn't turn out that way. The black square after, because if you were white the next day, you were just like, hey man, here's the black square, because that's nuts. I don't want to stand on anyone's neck, because we all know, and listen, it was a CIA psyop, sure, but sometimes, every now and then, you just go, sometimes a CIA psyop is better than people going, why the fuck did this piece of shit not post a black square? You look like you wouldn't post a black square. So I threw up that black square. And because that was, people were really figuring out how they were going to be like, hey man, this shit's fucked up. Like I don't go in with the narrative that all cops are horrible people, but there's a problem, right? You can't stand on someone's neck for 9 minutes. This is an issue. Around that time, when people were having those discussions, around that time, when people were calling for these ridiculous things that have been reversed, like defunding the cops and abolishing the cops, when none of that really works. But around that time, someone in the town I'm in now said, there's a show here. That's what they said. They go, there's a show. There's a show. They had to do this. They had to sit in a room and do this. With other executives, they had to go, we're so focused right now on positive change. No, this is what had to happen. And Ben's laughing because he knows this is exactly.
Well, there were tanks rolling down the street at this time, too.
No. The country was on the brink of I don't want to say civil war, but whatever was going on was, I remember smoking a cigarette in Palm Springs. I was on the phone with Giannis, and we were watching these riots. We were going, this is fucking crazy. We're on the phone for 2 hours. I smoked like 2 packs of cigarettes, just staring at these things. It was unbelievable. Just things getting lit on fire, and it was crazy. Yeah. During that time, someone went, we're all, in a meeting, and basically it was a Zoom meeting, probably nobody's in the office. Yeah. So on a Zoom call, they went, there's just this young generation of activists that we really respect. Think Parkland, think David Hogg, Emma Gonzalez, they're young, they're hungry for change, they're smart, they're well-spoken, they're telegenic. We just feel like right now this moment is so important. They love the word moment. They're like, this moment is so important. What we want to do is pit these activists against each other on television in a competition setting and have them do, and by the way, we have not even gotten, God help us, to what the challenges would have been. Because in a competition show, there needs to be challenges. There needs to be something introduced as a variable to see who survives and who does not. There's got to be, remember, at the end of any competition show, Survivor, you're off the island, Project Runway, whatever, Top Chef, pack your knives and go. Going back to the weakest link, you are the weakest link, goodbye. All of that, you're out. So they had to dismiss, there was going to be a way to dismiss these activists. I don't know what they were going to say.
It was designed to show, it was long hours and ingenuity that activists put into changing the world.
What were the challenges going to be? What I mean by that is this is a competition show.
Right, of course.
So there's got to be some type, because by the way, they had these discussions too. They were like, there's got to be some type of competition here. Otherwise, people are going to get bored pretty quickly. So we need a challenge. We need to see who, should we drop all of the people off in Ferguson? This was real. These were conversations that were had on Zoom by production companies and networks. Should we drop them all off in Ferguson for the anniversary of Michael Brown's death and see what they do? Is that going to play? Should we drop them off in Ferguson and see what they come up with? What will they do? What if they each have to do memorials to Michael Brown, but they eat like one. They all choose the memorial. Like some are going to do a parade, some are going to do like a sit-in, some are going to do like direct action, some are going to do like and we have to see who does it better. We have small teams of activists. I mean, what was the show going to be?